I thought I would spend my whole life with Gabriel, until the day I was hospitalized for my stomach illness. While he was celebrating Julia's birthday with her, I decided to let him go, and let myself go too. So I broke up with him. I was the one who said it. Everyone called me dramatic and said I was just throwing a tantrum, waiting for the day I would cry and beg to get back together, including Gabriel. Later, I walked forward holding the hand of a younger man and started a new life. And that was when Gabriel panicked. Chapter 1. I loved Gabriel for 10 years. I once believed that he was my entire world. Even if he didn't love me, I was still willing to offer him my sincere heart. I believed that one day, I would eventually warm that cold stone. But when I was hospitalized and he was still celebrating Julia's birthday with her, I finally woke up. That man had never belonged to me. I stared blankly at a photo on the wall. The background of the photo was the ginkgo grove on our university campus. Golden leaves covered the ground, and I was smiling foolishly at him, because that was the moment he accepted my confession. Gabriel once asked me why I chose this photo. I answered, because this was the happiest moment of our lives. At that moment, the mattress beside me sank slightly. Gabriel had sat down. What are you looking at? I'm looking at how young I was back then. The younger me had been deceiving herself all along. Only now did I realize that in the photo, the only happy one was me. There wasn't even the slightest smile in his eyes. Gabriel followed my gaze and looked at the photo, then casually comforted me. You're still young now. By the way, my phone died last night. Why were you looking for me? Yesterday, my stomach illness flared up. I was at home in pain, sweating all over, crying as I called him, but the line was busy. When I called again, his phone was already turned off. In the end, just before I fainted, I dialed the emergency number. When I woke up in the hospital, I saw Julia's social media post. Only then did I find out he had been celebrating her birthday. Before, I probably would have slowly explained what happened, then thoughtfully bought him a power bank. Now you won't have to worry about your phone dying anymore. But suddenly, I felt tired, because I remembered that once, when Julia was discussing a problem with him, they talked for 2 hours. His phone died and turned off. He borrowed my phone and called her again. At the time, he said, "Selena, I'm afraid she'll worry." I wanted to ask, was he not afraid that I would worry? But asking would probably only humiliate myself, so I shook my head. It's nothing. I dialed the wrong number. He thought I was throwing a tantrum and frowned as he explained. Yesterday was Julia's birthday. It wouldn't have been appropriate for me to leave halfway just to charge my phone. So, I interrupted him. I understand, but I really dialed the wrong number. I picked up the bag I had already packed and headed out. Oh right. I have something to do tonight, so I won't be coming back. I still couldn't be discharged from the hospital yet, but I didn't have any clean clothes there, so I came home temporarily to get some. Selena, don't throw a tantrum. You know I don't like that. I'm not. I really do have something to do. The moment I closed the door, I realized I didn't feel sad at all. Nothing is more important than your own health. Chapter 2. When I returned to the hospital, the nurse didn't seem to notice that I had gone home for a while. The needle pierced into my vein, and the cold medicine slowly flowed into my body. I closed my eyes for a moment. I realized that no matter how much water I drank or how many fluids I received, I no longer had the urge to cry. After an unknown amount of time, I heard a familiar, cool voice. Doctor, what happened to Selena? It was Gabriel. He had come to find me. I turned my head while lying in bed and saw him asking the doctor about my condition and the follow-up treatment plan. He spoke calmly and steadily, carefully considering every detail. After the doctor left, he sat down beside me and gently rubbed my hair. Why didn't you tell me you were sick? His tone wasn't very good, but it sounded like he was worried about me being ill. I stared at him blankly, suddenly unable to distinguish reality. Gabriel, worried about me? Impossible. In his world, the most important things always seemed to be work and Julia. He could stay up several nights in a row for work, and he could also spend his time and energy on Julia. But I had never received any special treatment from him. Not even a little. This was my place in his life, and I had finally recognized it. I lowered my eyes and avoided looking at him. staring only at the needle in my arm, feeling the medicine slowly make my body colder. It's just a minor illness. I'll recover soon. Gabriel's hand tightened slightly, as if he hadn't expected such an answer. After all, in order to get his attention, I used to act pitiful even when I had a slight cold and would cling to him. He paused, then took my free hand, the one without the four, and said in a low voice, "Last night was an accident. Next time, I'll borrow a phone to call you back." I was a little surprised. Gabriel would give me the same treatment as Julia? That didn't sound like him. But strangely, I didn't feel happy either. Maybe it was because I no longer had any expectations for him. After thinking about it, I shook my head. It's not good to trouble other people. I thought he wouldn't say anything else, but he pressed his lips together and said, "Trust me, I'll call you back next time." Okay. It sounded like a warm promise, but the medicine flowing through my veins still made me feel cold. Chapter 3. I liked Gabriel for 10 years. He was the older brother next door when I was growing up, my senior in college, the president of the student union, and a prominent figure on campus. All the girls liked him, including me, but in his eyes, there was only Julia, my senior in the student union as well. Unfortunately, Julia had long been promised in an arranged childhood engagement. He did nothing. He simply stayed by her side as a friend, silently protecting her, until our junior year, when Julia got engaged to a man who shone just as brightly as she did. The next day, I confessed to Gabriel, and he accepted. During that time, I would wake up laughing even in my dreams. I knew my confession took advantage of his vulnerable moment, but back then, I believed that as long as I treated him well enough, he would eventually fall in love with me. Yet 3 years had passed. I was already about to give up before he was finally willing to grant me a little, the same treatment he gave Julia. I felt like letting go. After staying in the hospital for 2 days, I returned home again. Suddenly, I felt a strange sense of unfamiliarity, as if this place was somewhere I should no longer return to. I stood there for a while before slowly walking inside. Gabriel, if a stock turns out to be unsuitable, but the client has already bought a lot and lost a lot of money, what should they do? My job often involved clients in the financial world, so the question didn't sound out of place. He paused for a moment. Don't consider the loss, just sell. But they've invested so much. If they sell now, the loss will be real. If the stock is wrong, clinging to the sunk cost will only make you lose more. I stayed silent for a long time before finally saying softly, I understand. I couldn't keep clinging to my sunk cost anymore. Perhaps because I had been silent for too long, so different from my usual talkative self. He seemed a little uncomfortable. Pressing his lips together, he took out a gift box from the drawer. The box was dark green, elegant and luxurious. With his long fingers, he opened it. Inside was an elegant blue diamond necklace. The diamond looked to be nearly 3 carats. I originally planned to give it to you on your birthday, but I thought I could give you something even better then. Don't you like blue? Try it on. He picked up the necklace and was about to put it on me. I pushed it back. He froze for a moment. What's wrong? I'm not Julia. I don't like blue. The moment the name Julia came out of my mouth, his expression suddenly changed. Since the day we got together, I had never mentioned that name on my own. He clearly didn't expect me to bring it up. After a long silence, his voice turned hoarse. But don't you always buy blue things? That's because I once thought that if I learned to be like her, you might look at me a little more. I calmly interrupted Gabriel. Before you knew her, my favorite color was red, and it still is. Gabriel, I don't want to imitate her anymore. Chapter 4. I don't know which sentence of mine provoked him. After a moment of silence, he tossed the necklace into the trash can and turned around to leave. With a loud bang, the door slammed shut again. I glanced at the trash can, then left as well. Gabriel doesn't like girls who drink, and I had never been to a bar before. Today, I suddenly wanted to try it. The bar was noisy, thick with cigarette smoke, and everywhere people were bumping into each other as they moved around. I couldn't understand what was so appealing about this place that made so many people addicted to it, until the first sip of alcohol went down my throat. Suddenly, I felt a kind of ease I had never experienced before. I even wanted to curse at myself. Why had I given up so many things in life just because of a man's preferences? A new singer came onto the stage, with the smoke swirling around. His face couldn't be seen clearly, but his arrogant blue hair and cool-looking guitar somehow made the bar feel even louder, especially when he said arrogantly, "Anyone here know how to play guitar? My hand's injured today. I need someone to come up and accompany me." Maybe the alcohol had already gotten to my head. After 2 or 3 drinks, I suddenly stood up and walked toward the stage. "I'll do it." I was dizzy, and he seemed to split into 2 or 3 figures in front of my eyes. I saw him raise an eyebrow. "You know how?" "No," he sighed. "Fine, just strum however you want. I'll sing however I want." The rest of the band members were stunned. "This is our last performance tonight and you're going this wild?" As expected of Cameron, totally doing whatever he wants. I was too drunk to understand what they were talking about. The guy called Cameron simply shoved the guitar into my arms. "Do you know how to strum however you want?" I thought for a moment. "Just randomly pluck the strings?" "I think so." But why was this guitar plugged into electricity? I didn't understand, but the drummer had already started playing. The powerful drum beats exploded beside my ears. Startled, my hand slipped across the guitar strings. A harsh, screeching sound rang out immediately. Cameron paused for a moment, picked up the microphone, and started singing. He was probably improvising. The lyrics were completely chaotic. "You can't play, but you still made me sing. Guess that's just my way of spoiling you. What kind of lyrics are these?" Although he actually sang quite well, I decided I would never complain about noisy bars again. After all, my performance had just added another layer of chaos to the noise. Chapter 5. Even though it was ridiculous, I had a great time. When the song ended, I laughed louder than anyone else. What Gabriel? What 10 years of love? To me, they were just a terrible, unpleasant song from the past. Once you've heard it, there's no need to listen again. Just as I was about to hand the guitar back, Cameron tilted his head. "Did you vent enough?" I tried to steady myself and answered instinctively. "I did. Want to feel even better?" "Huh?" Smashed the guitar hard on the ground. For some reason, I listened to him. I grabbed the guitar and slammed it hard onto the floor. Buzz. After the huge crash, the entire bar suddenly went silent. Everyone stared at me in shock. But I turned to look at Cameron. His mouth formed the words, "Feel good?" I shouted hysterically. "Yes." In an instant, the entire bar exploded with screams and cheers, wave after wave, almost lifting the roof off. Cameron pulled me down from the stage. He was still dragging that broken, battered guitar with him. Once outside the bar, the cold wind hit me, and I immediately sobered up quite a bit. Only then did I realize what I had just done. My face flushed red. I'm sorry. I'll pay for the guitar." One of his friends beside him, who looked barely 20, burst out laughing. "Miss, don't take responsibility so casually. That guitar costs hundreds of thousands." Hundreds of thousands? I felt even more guilty. "Can I pay in installments?" Cameron looked young too, but he had a fierce aura. "I told you to smash it. Why would you need to pay? Judging by you, you don't come to bars often. Little girl, you should go home. Where do you live? I'll take you back." I opened my mouth. "I am older than you." He paused for a moment, then suddenly laughed. "Then I'll take you home. Big sister." He deliberately stretched out the words big sister. I couldn't help glaring at him. How could someone like this even exist in the world? Someone completely different from Gabriel. When we reached my residential complex, I looked up slightly. The lights in my apartment were on, and there was a familiar silhouette standing by the window. It was Gabriel. I froze. "Boyfriend?" Cameron followed my gaze. "Yeah, doesn't seem like much," he said casually. "You came home this late, and he didn't call you, didn't look for you, and even now, he sees another guy bringing you home. Yet he just stands there watching. A guy like that either doesn't love you, or he's certain you won't leave, so he's waiting for you to explain everything to him. Big sister, you're not very good at judging people." Chapter 6. Those words were like a heavy blow to the head, instantly waking me up. A truth that a stranger could see at a glance, yet I had been foolishly trapped in it for 10 years. If my love failed, I had only myself to blame. Cameron shrugged. I'm leaving. Wait, what's your phone number? Let's add each other. As for the guitar money, adding each other is fine. Forget about the guitar money. Anyway, if you hadn't smashed it tonight, I would have smashed it myself. I froze for a moment. Why? My dad's forcing me to go to the company. Knowing him, he'd definitely smash it himself, so I might as well do it first. I had no words to respond. He turned around and walked away, waving his hand behind his back. After seeing him off, I took a deep breath before heading home. The lightness I felt earlier had already disappeared. As soon as I opened the door, Gabriel was still standing by the same window, a cigarette between his fingers, his expression both anxious and angry. Who was he? A friend, I replied calmly. He strode toward me, grabbed my arm, and asked through clenched teeth. What friend? How come I've never met him? And you were drinking with him? Selena, I told you before, I don't like girls who drink. Before he could finish, I pulled my arm back and pushed him away. It wasn't a strong push, but perhaps he never expected me to push him. He staggered back a few steps. I pressed my lips together and looked straight at him. Gabriel, whether you like it or not has nothing to do with me. After a pause, I added word by word. Just like how you like Julia has nothing to do with me. He stayed silent for a long time, so long that I lost patience and was about to walk toward my room. Only then did he speak hoarsely. Selena, Julia and I have never. I know, but it has nothing to do with me. Yes. Gabriel had never been with Julia, but he had always been willing to stay by her side. Just like I had been in the past few years, my whole world revolving around Gabriel, always staying by his side. Before, I would have cared about these things, but today, I suddenly felt tired. I had already let it go. Gabriel seemed emotionally off tonight. For the first time, he corrected me seriously. You're my girlfriend. Of course it has something to do with you. Maybe the lighting was too dim, or maybe I really had drunk too much. I thought I saw Gabriel's eyes slightly red, but I didn't want to discuss this with him. Gabriel, I'm tired. I have to report to my new company tomorrow. All right, I'm going on a business trip tomorrow. We'll talk when I get back. After entering the bathroom, I sighed softly. Reporting to the new company was both an excuse to avoid the conversation and also the truth. During the days I took off, the boss had acquired another company and wanted his son to try managing it. I was assigned to assist his son for a while. Because of that, I even called my best friend for advice. She replied quickly, "Is it that Cameron? I've heard about him. Apparently he's not someone you want to mess with." Even the boss sent me a message. "Selena, if that brat Cameron gives you trouble, tell me, I'll deal with him." I felt like I needed to conserve my energy, because everyone kept telling me that Cameron was not someone to be trifled with. Chapter 7. Early the next morning, I arrived at the company to wait, but Cameron didn't show up until noon. He wore all black, with 2 holes in his pants, and had short blue buzzcut hair. That color looked strangely familiar. I froze. With long strides, he walked straight up to me. Big sister, we meet again." The day before officially starting my job, I had smashed my future boss's guitar in a bar. I suddenly didn't feel like speaking. He sat on the sofa with one leg crossed over the other, while I secretly glanced at him several times. I had to admit, this flashy, rebellious style combined with his extremely handsome face, gave him a kind of roguish charm. When I looked at him for the 4th time, he sighed helplessly. "Big sister, if you want to look, just look. Or, have you eaten breakfast? Want to gnaw on some duck necks?" He shook the bag in his hand. The rich smell of braised duck snacks filled the air. I froze. This job was completely different from what I imagined. An arrogant rich air, chewing duck necks on his first day at work. I quietly went to find the manager. Is he really the boss's son? Didn't people say he's difficult to deal with? The manager adjusted his glasses. He really is difficult. At a banquet last month, our young master broke 3 of someone's ribs. A chill ran down my back. Cameron looked barely in his early 20s. Yet his actions were so ruthless. So, I don't dare approach him. Please deliver this file to him for me. The manager stuffed the documents into my hands and dismissed me. When I returned to the office, Cameron was fast asleep. His long legs were casually resting on the desk, and beside him was a pile of duck bones. Sighing, I asked the cleaning lady to tidy up, place the documents on the desk, and left. In the afternoon, Cameron finally woke up. I quickly approached him to discuss work. He stared seriously at the computer screen, his fingers moving rapidly on the keyboard. The documents? I can't understand them. Isn't there a manager? Big sister, just let him sign them. From the speakers came the sound of a game kill notification. Cameron didn't even move his eyes away from the screen. I felt extremely helpless. If it were that simple, the boss wouldn't have transferred me here to assist him. Fortunately, patience was one of my strengths. At 5 in the afternoon, the moment the clock struck, Cameron shut down his computer and stood up. Work's over. Big sister, are you leaving? I was stunned. I had never left work exactly on time before. I still need to talk to you about this file. You're my assistant. If I'm leaving work, you're leaving too, even if the sky falls. We'll deal with it tomorrow. Big sister. Cameron grabbed me and pulled me out of the company. 3 minutes later, I watched Cameron ride off on his motorcycle right in front of me. I rubbed my temples. Was this young master really here to work? Chapter 8. In the days that followed, having Cameron as my direct boss was both painful and strangely enjoyable. He got off work exactly on time every day. And as his assistant, I also left right at 5. But aside from that, Cameron was completely unprofessional. At work he was either sleeping or playing video games. The documents in his hands never got read. And even the manager was helpless. I know taking care of a kid isn't easy. Cameron has been at work for a week now. If he still knows nothing when asked, it'll be hard to explain to the chairman, as the unfortunate one stuck dealing with this situation. I had no choice but to use my trump card. 5 minutes later, Cameron had a cigarette hanging from his lips, his fingers moving rapidly. Hurry up. What are you doing in the jungle? Picking mushrooms? Beside him, I began reading clearly and formally. During the service period, Party A must strictly maintain confidentiality regarding the contents of this contract. Otherwise, they will be required to pay liquidated damages. 20 minutes later, his game ended, and I had only read 1/3 of the document. I was still wearing the new high heels I had bought, and my ankles were already sore. I could only shift my posture cautiously. Slow down. Cameron looked completely helpless. He stood up. At over 6 feet tall, he carried a strong sense of pressure. Big sister, you're standing on stilts like that. Aren't you tired after standing so long? As he spoke, Cameron pushed his own boss's chair toward me. Sit down and keep reading. Perhaps because he didn't want anyone coming in to bother him. There was only this one chair in the entire office. I refused to sit, but he simply pressed me down into the chair, and so a strange scene appeared. I sat in the large boss's chair reading the proposal aloud. Cameron bent over in front of the computer playing video games. From my angle, I could clearly see the collarbone and chest beneath his shirt collar. As I kept reading, my focus slowly drifted away. Another round of his game ended. Cameron straightened up and saw that I still hadn't finished reading. He seemed truly annoyed. He snatched the document directly from my hands. What kind of nonsense is this? It's so long. I'll just read it myself. Go pour yourself some water. Cameron looked through the proposal, his brows furrowing deeper and deeper. What's going on with the logistics funding? 2 million, what can that even do? The cost calculation is also wrong. Some losses haven't even been considered. Send it back. Tell the manager to come up with a new proposal. I froze. This young master wasn't supposed to be incompetent? Perhaps afraid I wouldn't remember. He grabbed a pen, circled several places, and tossed the document back to me. Oh right, announce this as well. From now on, any proposal submitted to the company cannot exceed 3 pages. Otherwise, the person proposing it will bring their proposal here and stand in the office while reading it aloud. Me. Chapter 9. That evening, I received a red envelope from the chairman. Selena, I knew my judgment wouldn't be wrong. With you they're pushing him. Cameron's motivation has suddenly improved. Although I had no idea what Cameron's new rule had to do with his motivation. But agreeing with the boss is always the safest choice. In the days that followed, I continued bringing proposals to Cameron. This young master would glance at them during the brief pause between finishing one game and starting the next. Over time, I began to truly admire Cameron. He could always pinpoint problems with incredible accuracy and provide sharp solutions. Of course, Cameron was the kind of person who just moved his mouth while others ran themselves ragged carrying out the work. But there was one thing I couldn't understand. Cameron told me to tell everyone that he understood nothing and that all the revisions were done by me. Otherwise, he would fire me. Why? You clearly know how to do all of this. Cameron kept typing on the keyboard without stopping. You wouldn't understand. If the old man finds out I can do this, he'll make me take over the other companies too. I'm not trying to work myself to death. While playing his game, he suddenly stood up. I'm going to the restroom. Watch this for me. I looked at the game screen that had already loaded and shook my head. Just help me clear the bottom lane. I'll be right back. Cameron made it sound simple. By the time he returned, I had already been solo killed 3 times. He stared at me in horror. So when you said you couldn't play, you weren't being modest. Forget it. Forget it. Let's stop playing. Let's go eat. I'm hungry. Before I could refuse, Cameron had already dragged me outside. Aren't you my assistant? Eating with the boss is totally normal. Cameron kept brainwashing me with that logic until we stopped in front of a motorcycle. No girl has ever ridden on this bike before. You're the first. I stared at him for a long moment before confirming that he was completely serious and not messing with me. What's with that look? This bike is a limited edition. As he spoke, Cameron shoved a helmet into my hands, scaring me so much that I stepped back repeatedly. Unfortunately, I couldn't refuse. By the time we arrived at the restaurant, I felt like only half my life was left. The other half had been blown away by the cold wind along the ride. As he cut into his steak, he seemed to remember something. Big sister, did you break up with that boyfriend of yours? I froze for a moment before realizing he meant Gabriel. Gabriel had been on a business trip these past few days, and we had both tacitly avoided contacting each other. I shook my head. Not yet. Cameron frowned. If you're not breaking up, what are you keeping him for? Saving him for family visits during the holidays? I laughed. No, he's on a business trip. We haven't talked about it yet. Oh, boring. For some reason, Cameron suddenly lost interest. He didn't even finish his steak. After I finished eating, he simply drove me back to the company. When I returned home after work, I saw Gabriel sitting on the sofa with his eyes closed, resting. Only then did I suddenly remember. Today seemed to be the day he came back from his trip. I had completely forgotten. Sensing that I had come in, he opened his tired eyes. Selena, you're back. At that moment, I realized I had truly changed. Chapter 10. If it had been before, seeing him like this, I would definitely have reminded him not to overwork himself, pushed him to take a shower and go to bed. I might even have massaged his head for him. But today, I only said calmly, I'm going to take a shower. As I passed him, he suddenly grabbed my wrist. Selena. He was silent for a moment, and finally sighed. In 2 days there's the school anniversary celebration. Let's go together. He probably wanted to use the school celebration to ease the tension between us. I agreed. That day, Julia also came. She even fainted during the celebration. Gabriel unconsciously walked 2 steps in that direction. He paused, then turned back. Selena. She fainted. I'll take her to the hospital. Don't overthink it. I'll come back after I drop her off. Okay? I replied unusually calmly. Okay. After watching him carefully carry Julia into the car, while everyone else looked on with concern, I took a taxi home. I had a lot of things, but there weren't many I wanted to take with me. Soon, I packed 2 suitcases. Before leaving, I placed the key on the table and picked up my phone to send a message. Gabriel, let's break up. Then I posted on my social media, happy to be single, the man I had loved for 10 years and been with for 3 years. In the end, we still broke up. When I carefully thought back on this relationship, the memories it left me with seemed to be only these. The times I sent him messages and never received a reply. only to see him commenting on Julia's posts online, the anniversaries he always forgot, while never once missing when Julia was on her period. And, that day in the hospital, when I had a fever of 39 degrees Celsius and wanted him to stay with me, but he was celebrating Julia's birthday. The disappointment had accumulated for far too long. It was finally time to leave. Gabriel called almost immediately. Selena, stop messing around. It's not that I didn't want to come back. Julia is pregnant, and there's no one here to take care of her. Wait for me to come back and explain everything, okay? I only sighed. Gabriel, Julia is pregnant. Is the child yours? Of course not, Selena. What are you suspecting? I'm not suspecting anything. I just suddenly feel like laughing. The child she's carrying isn't yours. Yet you're so attentive to her, but every time I'm hospitalized, you're always absent. Gabriel, I really don't want to stay with you anymore. After I said that, I heard the scraping sound of a chair on the other end, followed by the sound of a door opening and closing. Selena, I was wrong. Wait for me, okay? I'm coming back right now. Gabriel, I've realized something. I don't love you anymore. The footsteps on the other end suddenly stopped. There was nothing but dead silence. I hung up the phone, pulled my suitcase behind me, and closed the door. Goodbye, my youth. After leaving that place, I didn't know where to go. Dragging my suitcase, I wandered aimlessly. Suddenly, the sound of a car braking sharply came from beside me. Big sister. I turned around. It was Cameron, sitting in the car. Cameron said, "So the big sister broke up?" "Yes." He chuckled softly. "Good." I looked at him, puzzled. He shrugged. "Big sister, want to try something exciting?" Chapter 11. I never expected Cameron to take me racing, and the racing turned out to be go-karts. These are professional ones. They can reach speeds of up to 100 kilometers per hour. Cameron skillfully picked out equipment for me and chose a two-seater cart. Watch me do a round first. I promise it's really fun. Cameron started the engine with ease. The cart shot forward like an arrow released from a bow, the acceleration pressing me firmly into the seat. At that moment, Gabriel, Julia, and those 10 years of love were all left far behind. All I could do was clutch my clothes tightly and keep reminding myself inside. Stay calm, stay calm. This is the boss's son. If I scold him, I might lose my job. Big sister, open your eyes. Feel it, this sense of freedom. I forced my eyes open. Cameron drifted through a corner, and it felt like my soul was left behind chasing the car. When the cart finally slowed and stopped, I stepped onto the ground and realized how wonderful it was to still be alive. Scared like that? Cameron unscrewed a bottle of water and handed it to me. Do you know how to drive? I nodded. Back when Gabriel was learning to drive, I had signed up for lessons too, just so I could talk to him more. Then give it a try. This is the ultimate cure for heartbreak. He said it seriously, and I felt a little tempted. I got into a single-seat cart. When I stepped on the accelerator, feeling the wind rushing past, my mood immediately lifted. Lap after lap, I found it hard to stop. Cameron raised an eyebrow. Big sister, want to race? How could I possibly win? I'll go easy on you. Cameron and I stood on the same starting line, taking off at the command. Every time we entered a corner, Cameron clearly slowed down. I confidently sped up, for some reason desperately wanting to win. Don't take the turn too fast, Cameron shouted. I didn't hear him at all. I pressed the accelerator while turning. The cart suddenly lost control, veering off the track and crashing hard into the barrier. My ears rang loudly. I hugged my head and said nothing. Selena, are you okay? As everything went black, I heard Cameron shouting anxiously. Racing with the boss's son and ending up in the hospital, and even having the chairman find out about it. Something like this was unimaginable to the old me. Yet here I was lying in a hospital bed, while Cameron stood outside the ward. I could faintly hear his father's furious voice. Have you completely lost your mind? How could you treat a young girl like that? I felt a little guilty. More importantly, the chairman's wife, Cameron's mother, was sitting beside me, peeling fruit for me. Have some fruit. Tomorrow I'll stew some soup for you to help you recover. No, thank you, ma'am. I shook my head nervously. There's no need to be so formal. Just call me Auntie. I heard your boss mention you. You're a hardworking and capable girl. Cameron must have dragged you there, right? I definitely didn't dare mention that we had made a bet. Not long after, Cameron came in with his father. Chapter 12. The chairman sat to the side and asked me with concern if there was anywhere else that still hurt. If anything feels uncomfortable, you must say it. Don't keep it to yourself or it might leave lasting problems. I've already scolded Cameron. In the future, don't indulge him. It was the first time an elder had shown me such concern, especially when that elder was my boss. I felt a little overwhelmed. All right, Mom and Dad, you can go home first. I'll take care of her. Cameron's mother handed the peeled apple to me, then suddenly turned to Cameron with a stern expression. You should be the one taking care of her. This is all because of you. Otherwise, would this young girl have gotten hurt like this? In truth, my injuries weren't serious at all, but the chairman insisted that I stay in the hospital for 2 days. He even specifically told Cameron to take care of me. During my hospital stay, Gabriel called me many times. I was so annoyed that I eventually blocked him. As for Cameron, perhaps out of guilt, he changed completely and began taking work very seriously. Within just 2 months, he signed 3 major contracts for the company. The new company officially began operating smoothly. One evening after work, Cameron offered to drive me home, but he took a completely different route. The contract's done. I'm taking you out to have some fun. Just hearing the word fun gave me a headache. Don't worry, this time it's safe. As it turned out, Cameron brought me back to the same bar where we first met. The familiar heavy metal music blasted through my ears. Last time I was on stage, I saw you sitting alone drinking. You looked so silly. I didn't expect someone as quiet as you would dare to get on stage and play guitar. Big sister, that's impressive. Because it was so loud, Cameron had to lean close to my ear to speak, his breath brushing against my face. I felt my face flush without realizing it and lifted my glass to drink. One glass after another, until I lost consciousness. When I woke up again, it was already the next day. I sat up in panic to check myself. Fortunately, everything was normal. I was still wearing the same clothes from yesterday. But how had I gotten home? Curious. I walked out of the bedroom and saw a man curled up on the sofa. Cameron was squeezed onto my tiny 1.5 meter sofa, shirtless. The lines of his waist and abdomen clearly defined. His chest rose and fell slowly with his breathing. I swallowed and quickly looked away. Hearing the movement, Cameron slowly opened his eyes and sat up. My legs are completely numb from sleeping here. You're awake? Yeah. Did you bring me home last night? Cameron sighed. Big sister. Who else could it have been? Chapter 13. My face flushed with heat. Cameron laughed. Big sister. I'm hungry. For some reason, I felt like I was about to burst into flames. I'll go cook something for you. It's fine. I'll cook. Just tell me where everything is. I had just climbed out of bed and turned around when he was suddenly standing right in front of me. Can you please put some clothes on? I asked. I washed them. They're not dry yet. Besides, with a body like mine, you should feel lucky just looking at it. Me, big sister, compared to your ex-boyfriend. How's my body? I was speechless and didn't want to respond, but he kept asking relentlessly. Yours is good. Yours is even better. Is that enough? I answered perfunctorily. The corner of his lips lifted. Then, big sister, how about considering dating me? I was so startled I almost crashed into the refrigerator. What nonsense are you talking about? Cameron's voice turned faint and teasing. What's wrong? Big sister, am I not good enough? I panicked slightly and quickly found an excuse. It's not that. I was sent here to assist you, and now you're talking about dating me. What would the chairman think? But Cameron was even more direct. He picked up his phone and pressed a few buttons. In less than 10 seconds, the call connected. You brat. Spit it out if you've got something to say. I froze. That was the chairman's voice. What was Cameron trying to do? Cameron's tone toward the phone was just as blunt. Old man, what if I make Selena your daughter-in-law? Is that okay? I covered my face, already mentally drafting my resignation letter. After a long silence on the other end, the chairman finally replied, Selena isn't blind. Why would she fall for you? If you actually manage to win her over, it'll mean our ancestors' graves are smoking with good fortune. As soon as he finished speaking, Cameron hung up the phone. See? I wasn't wrong. So, will you consider me? I felt like the alcohol from last night still hadn't worn off. Otherwise, how could something this absurd be happening? I didn't respond to Cameron. After cooking for him, I sent him away. I needed time to calm down, but ever since he said it out loud, Cameron's gaze had become impossible to hide. Even at the company, he acted much more openly. Every now and then, my office phone would ring. Big sister, come watch me play a game. I'll teach you the newest combo skills. I guarantee you'll dominate the battlefield. I pinched the bridge of my nose and reminded myself that making money wasn't easy. Trying to steer the conversation back to work, I asked, have you read the cooperation proposal with Songshan? Oh, I don't want to. If you don't come in and keep me company, I can't focus on reading it. Big sister, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This guy was getting more and more spoiled. When the manager passed by, he even gave me a sympathetic look. Raising a child isn't easy. Hang in there. After finally coaxing Cameron into finishing the proposal, I was about to ask him to attend a meeting. Instead, he casually stretched his long legs onto the desk and declared lazily, "Don't want to go. Fine. What will it take for you to go? Come with me to the electronic music festival on Saturday." See? Did I really have any room to refuse? In the end, Cameron stuffed a ticket into my hand and happily walked into the meeting room. After the meeting, he tossed me a copy of the meeting notes. I listened carefully today. Not bad, right? Cameron raised his chin proudly, clearly waiting for praise. Then he leaned close to my ear again and whispered, "Big sister, don't forget the music festival. Absolutely don't forget." Chapter 14. It turns out that in this world, there are entertainment venues even louder than bars, and that is a music festival. Even when I got home that night, my ears still echoed with yo yo yo, SKR, and endless screaming. That evening Cameron sent me a message. Not bad, right? That's my favorite rapper. To be honest, I didn't catch a single lyric, but the atmosphere at the venue really did affect me. Next time I'll take you to another one. I guarantee it'll be exciting. On the other end, Cameron was still enthusiastically talking about the next outing. I sighed and started putting on a face mask. Just as I finished applying it, a message from my best friend arrived. "Selena, Gabriel is looking for you." Looking at that short line of text, I suddenly realized that my heart was completely calm. Before I could reply, my friend sent another long message. "Selena, actually Gabriel does care about you. Everyone feels it's a pity that you two broke up. Gabriel is a pretty good marriage prospect. If you don't reconcile with him now, you'll miss out on a real potential catch." I understood what my friend meant. Gabriel was indeed a good man, otherwise I wouldn't have loved him for 10 years. I had once imagined that maybe one day I would marry Gabriel, as long as I had the identity of Gabriel's wife. With his strong moral principles, he would never do anything to betray me. But in the end, I was never the one he truly liked, and I no longer liked him either. So I replied directly, "We're not suitable. I want to find someone who makes me happy." Then have you found someone like that? For some reason, Cameron immediately came to mind. Just as I was thinking about him, a message from him arrived. "I don't feel like working anymore. I want to go traveling." After these days of constantly dealing with Cameron, I had already figured out his tricks. "What are you trying to do this time?" "I'm lonely. I want to find a girlfriend. Height 165 centimeters. Pretty. And her name is Selena." I immediately replied, "Impossible." Cameron sent a dejected emoji. "In that case, starting next week I refuse to read any proposals. I'll just play games every day." "Young master, you already play games every day. Then go shopping with me, otherwise I'm going on strike." That condition was easy to satisfy, so I agreed immediately. After that, Cameron really did behave much better at work. The manager clicked his tongue in amazement. "Love really is a powerful thing." I hurried to explain, but the manager just gave me a look that clearly said I understand everything. Although Cameron behaved better at work, he still caused plenty of trouble. In less than half an hour, he would call me into his office. Sometimes he couldn't understand a document. Sometimes his coffee was finished. Sometimes his eyes hurt. In short, he used every excuse possible. Working during the day was exhausting enough. But after work, Cameron absolutely refused to let me go. He dragged me all over the city. In 2 months, I had visited nearly every famous commercial street in the city, checked in at countless restaurants and bars, and attended all kinds of music festivals and concerts. Cameron looked completely innocent about it. "I'm courting you, didn't you notice?" Chapter 15. As he spoke, he stuffed the bouquet of fresh flowers he had just bought into my arms. Come on, the autumn collection just came out. I'll take you shopping for clothes." After buying clothes, Cameron dragged me into a hair salon. "You've been under too much work pressure lately. I'm taking you to relax." I couldn't help but laugh. "Thank you, but as your assistant, all my stress comes from you. Smoking, drinking, and getting your hair done, the 3 essential stress relief activities for young people. Smoking is bad for your health, and you can't hold your liquor, so the only option left is getting your hair done." I had no idea how someone who loved smoking could say something like smoking is bad for your health. Cameron caught my gaze and immediately frowned. "What kind of look is that? Ever since the last time you coughed from my cigarette smoke, I quit, okay?" That was actually true. No wonder I hadn't seen Cameron smoking recently. After the stylist seated us, he studied me carefully through the mirror. "Miss, what kind of hairstyle would you like?" I turned to Cameron. "Ask him. Let me think." Cameron flipped through a catalog seriously, occasionally glancing up at me. "This one." He pointed at a page with large wavy curls. During the process of getting my hair done, Cameron bought some barbecue and sat beside me eating while chatting. "To be honest, shopping with you is pretty fun. Are you sure?" I glanced at the pile of shopping bags. Most of them were mine. Cameron had chosen them, and he had paid for them too. When I tried to pay, Cameron immediately put on a stern face. He was already tall and imposing the moment the clerk saw his expression. They handed the POS machine straight to him. "Really, buying things for you feels strangely satisfying. I suddenly understand what you girls feel when playing Miracle Nikki." Wow, he even knew about Miracle Nikki. Clearly he had done his research. "Honestly, I'm planning to start working hard, so I can earn more money and marry you." Could he actually be serious? Cameron really did throw himself into work. Given how seriously he had been working lately, the chairman was extremely satisfied. Cameron's mother even asked him to bring me to a banquet. "Selena, I know it's all thanks to you. Otherwise that boy would never be this obedient." I quickly shook my head, but Cameron's mother patted my hand. "Don't worry, I understand." I almost wanted to cry. "What exactly do you all think you understand?" Cameron went with his father to meet business connections, while Cameron's mother was taken away by another wealthy lady. I sat alone in the corner, absent-mindedly watching Cameron from a distance. He had already dyed his blue hair back to black. In his tailored suit and with his pale, sharply defined handsome face, he seemed to shine. Just as I was thinking that, "Selena?" I looked toward the voice. It was Gabriel's mother. She looked me up and down, her expression as if she were evaluating merchandise. "Your dress is too short. A girl should be modest. This isn't very proper." In the past, I would have dealt with her patiently. But now, we had already broken up. Why should I care about her opinion? I didn't reply, but she continued talking anyway. "I heard you and Gabriel broke up. You two really weren't suitable. You're not that young anymore. You should find a good family and get married soon." Chapter 16. Cameron's mother suddenly appeared behind me at some point. "That won't be necessary for you to worry about. If someone like Selena became my daughter-in-law, I'd wake up laughing from my dreams." As she spoke, Cameron's mother even sighed softly. "It's just that my useless son hasn't managed to win her over yet." As his mother, even I'm getting anxious watching this. A chill ran down my back. Yet Cameron's mother had her arm around me, and I didn't dare move. "Cameron is pursuing Selena?" Gabriel's mother looked incredulous. "Of course he is. Our family knows how to recognize treasure, unlike some people who don't know how to cherish such a precious gem." Cameron's mother snorted coldly and led me away with her arm around me. Before leaving, I deliberately glanced at Gabriel's mother. After being humiliated like that, her face had turned completely pale with anger. Perhaps Gabriel's mother's appearance made Cameron nervous. While his mother went to the restroom, he grabbed my hand and ran off. Big sister, I don't have any white moonlight. I promise I'll only like you. I'll listen to everything you say. So, will you be my girlfriend? Wow, talking is one thing, but why did he have to drag someone else into the comparison? Are you sure? Cameron nodded even more vigorously. Sure, absolutely sure. Then it's settled, you're mine now. I had never imagined I would start a new relationship so quickly. After we started dating, Cameron became even more reckless. Every half hour, my office phone rang. Selena, I can't focus on reading the documents. Then what do you want? Come in and give me a kiss, or I can come out and kiss you. That request was honestly a bit too much. At noon we ate lunch together in the office. Cameron kept fiddling with his phone, insisting on taking photos. Why take photos? To pick a nice one for the official announcement. People need to know we're dating. After the photos were taken, Cameron immediately posted them on social media. Then he grabbed my hand and used my fingerprint to unlock his phone. All right, from now on you can check my phone whenever you want. That's not really necessary. It felt like invading someone else's privacy. In the past, I had never checked Gabriel's phone. Even after years of dating, I didn't know his phone password. Couples should be honest with each other, right? Or is there some secret in your phone you can't let me see? Cameron immediately put on a serious face. Give me your phone. Let me check. I quickly handed it over. The social media post had been made by Cameron on my behalf. The comments below were all congratulations, except for one comment that stood out awkwardly. So you really broke up with Gabriel. Can you really bear it? Actually, that friend didn't mean anything malicious. She was just always very blunt. But Cameron was still furious. No way. Tonight we're organizing a gathering so all your friends can meet me. Let's see who dares to overthink things again. There's no need to make such a big deal about it. What do you mean? Are you planning to play with my feelings and refuse to give me a proper title? No way. Chapter 17. Under Cameron's watchful supervision, I really did invite a group of friends out for dinner. Throughout the entire meal, Cameron held my hand tightly and refused to let go, looking as if he were declaring his claim. But halfway through the meal, an unexpected guest arrived. Gabriel. At first, everyone's gaze kept drifting between Gabriel and me. But Cameron kept such a close watch that Gabriel and I didn't even get a chance to speak. Selena seems different now. Someone said. She's become much more cheerful, almost like a little girl. My best friend joked with a smile. Is it because she has a boyfriend now? Cameron wrapped his arm around my shoulders, looking extremely proud. Everyone enjoyed the meal, and when it ended, I stayed with my best friend to wait for her ride while Cameron went to pay the bill. Selena. Gabriel's expression was complicated. I want to talk to you alone. There's nothing left for us to talk about. I rejected him coldly, not even willing to look at him. Selena. What does he have that I don't? Break up with him and come back to me, okay? Gabriel frowned. The moment he said that, my expression turned cold. He's better than you in every way. And besides, he doesn't have any white moonlight. After saying that, I saw Cameron running toward me after paying the bill. I smiled and ran toward him as well. In the days that followed, the chairman, wanting to train Cameron, immediately sent him out of town for an inspection trip. Neither the manager nor I went with him. Cameron complained at home for 10 straight minutes about it. That old man just can't stand seeing me doing well. In the end, we finally coaxed Cameron onto the plane. I promised him I would reply whenever I saw his messages and that we would have a video call every day. A week passed after Cameron left. While I was working at the office, I received a message. I thought it was Cameron, but it was Gabriel. Selena, can we meet? I just want to say a couple of things. Let's meet at the cafe downstairs from your office. It won't take long. I hesitated for a moment, but eventually agreed. Gabriel sat by the window, his posture upright, still looking refined and gentle. Selena, have you been well lately? I nodded but didn't respond. Gabriel's gaze dimmed slightly. You don't want to ask me anything? There's nothing to ask. Our relationship isn't the same anymore. Gabriel took a deep breath. His eyes were slightly red. Selena. I really regret it. I always thought I liked Julia, but when she got married and even when she became pregnant, I felt nothing inside. Yet when I saw you with Cameron, I was so jealous I felt like I was going crazy. Gabriel raised his head and stared at me intently. Chapter 18. I was too foolish. I only understand it now. I actually liked you all along. What I felt for Julia was just an obsession with something I couldn't have. Selena, can you give me another chance? I looked at the man in front of me and fell silent. I had imagined countless times that Gabriel would tell me he no longer liked Julia and that he wanted to be with me properly. Now that it had finally happened, it was simply too late. I like Cameron. He's wonderful, humorous and interesting. He lets me be my true self. Gabriel. Actually, I don't like blue. I don't like pretending to be a gentle lady. I don't like raising flowers and plants. I like playing games, drinking, and wearing spaghetti-strap dresses. I used to envy Julia because she was beautiful and elegant and loved by everyone. I imitated her, learned from her, hoping one day I could replace her in Gabriel's heart. But I forgot who I truly was. When I was with you, I kept wearing myself down, becoming the person you all preferred. But it was exhausting. I want to be myself now. Gabriel remained silent. I could see his fingers trembling slightly. Those years. I'm sorry. So, I really have no chance anymore, right? Gabriel, let's both let each other go. I shook my head firmly and raised my left hand. The 3-carat diamond ring sparkled brilliantly. I'm getting married. The groom is Cameron? Yes, it can only be him. After saying that, I stood up. Only then did I notice Cameron standing behind me. Wasn't he supposed to be out of town on a business trip? When did he come back? Cameron glanced at Gabriel but quickly withdrew his gaze and looked at me instead. Then, without caring about anyone else around, he pulled me into a tight embrace. Wife, I missed you. So I flew back. His arms tightened slightly, his breath brushing against my ear and making my face flush. That's how Cameron was. Whenever he felt love, he expressed it openly without hesitation. I missed you too, I whispered. I enjoyed the warmth of his love. Then I'll take my wife out to eat. He took my hand and led me out of the cafe. As we walked, he said, I've already booked a private room. Tonight both families will meet to discuss the wedding. He said he wanted to marry me. He said the only person who could ever be his wife was me. Only after meeting Cameron did I realize how wonderful it feels to be truly cherished.